Hello, this is Crew at Psychology, and this is a special clip in English because I usually teach psychology, GCSE, A-level, and make videos in English about tutoring. But this video has nothing to do with tutoring at all because I intentionally want to also make this clip in English about the psychology of Squid Game. So I believe those of you who clicked into my video are either those who have subscribed or those who have watched Squid Game and is very interested in learning psychology, in learning about psychology, right? So just please let me share my screen just a second and we can get going. So, can Squid Game teach us anything about psychology at all? So, of course, why not? It can. So, that's why I've made this video here to let you guys study psychology in a new, fascinating way. So, let's think about why players agree to even take part in the Squid Game series. I mean, in the game in the first place. Is it because they're desperate and they need money? So, yeah, of course, that's the main reason, right? But it's also due to psychological phenomena, such as the scarcity effect. So looking at this one, when something is unlimited means when something we can have it as much as we want, say like money or opportunity, say money, because this is all about money, right? If someone can be as rich as they want to be, the scarcity effect says that they'll place a higher value on the source of money that they can obtain it from, which in turn this leads to irrational choice, irrational decision making, and that ruins their life. Because some players, or I mean most players, die during the game. And that's the point of the game, to kill each other, to have all of those like violence and aggression, right? So when money is in excess, when we can get as much as we want, people would just go crazy. That's like based on Squid Game series here. But it also means on the other way around, if something is scarce, so scarcity, something's like very rare to find, we would think of that as like we want that, we need that. It also works that way as well. If you don't have any money, then it would of course be the first thing that you think about before anything else. Okay, second is the sunk cost fallacy. So this one is when like we start doing something, participating in something, starting a project or a relationship or something, we just can't stop it because we feel like we've invested time, we've invested all our energy, all of the resources we have, our cognitive abilities we have into a project or into whatever that thing is in everyday life. Talking about in Squid Game, then, when players started to play, they won the first game, second game, third game, so on, and they feel like, oh, I've started and I've came this far. There's a lot of money on that piggy bank. I want even more. I wish other players died or be like dead and like die in the next game or something. But you know what? It turns out that they themselves might be the player who dies in the next game. So they just feel like they can't quit. They shouldn't quit. They don't want to quit something that has already been started, even when they had the chance to do that back in season two. Okay. And what about group psychology? We have some interesting phenomenon on why players form alliances. Think of Squid Game where people don't know each other before, apart from our main character and his best friend and the mother and the son together. Apart from that, the players didn't knew each other before. I mean, they were just simply strangers to each other. Apart from the Bitcoin player, right? The 333, I just don't recall the name in English. But yeah, there are many interesting phenomenon, such as the in-group versus out-group bias. We tend to trust people similar to us. That being said, people who we know already, or people of the same gender, people of the same appearance, similar appearances, because if we talk about lifestyle or likes and dislikes, they are strangers. They don't know each other before. So when they do, they start to trust those that are similar to them, and then shift from being an out group where they don't know each other before to be close or closer to each other. That's where the in-group phenomenon occurs, and they leave behind others that they feel are different to them as an out group. Okay, there's also herd mentality where people just decide they should follow the crowd because they don't know where to go, what to do, or how to behave. So even though they don't understand the situation fully, they just feel like, okay, it's safer to follow the crowd, to do what others do as well. Because think back in our evolutionary past, in psychology, evolutionary psychology states that like the past, our ancestors, whatever behaviors they have, they just pass on to us, which helps us to feel like we can survive on this planet Earth here. So herd mentality, we just feel like if we follow the group, the crowd, we feel safe, not self, safe, just the pronunciation. First of all, safe. And once we feel safe, we think that there is a higher chance of winning the game. That's why people play the game. And the prison's dilemma. Think of in psychology when we have to decide whether we'll betray our friend or let our friend betray us in a prison's situation where we like maybe we did something wrong, our friend did something wrong, and it's just like, okay, should I betray him or let him betray me, her betray me? So in Squid Game, it's also the case about this dilemma as well, because people think about whether I should betray my friends in those who are strangers in the game, or should I be the person that gets betrayed. So sadly, think back to season 1. I just don't know the name and the number, but the girls who played together in the 4th game, the marbles game, one of the girl decided to let her friend continue on to the 5th game. And so like sort of like suicide and let her friend moved on where she got shot by the guards, sadly. Whilst in that same game in season 1, one of the characters betrayed Ali, like the sort of like innocent player who just he took all of Ali's marbles and moved to the 5th game, and Ali got shot and died. Okay, so that's the phenomenon that occurs in group psychology, something we can learn about Squid Game. And also, why do some players have more chances of winning than others? What can we learn from psychology? So first of all, emotional intelligence. Those that have high in emotional intelligence, or strictly speaking, it's EQ, right? They can read the minds of other players well. They can understand the game well. They can see through behaviors and all sorts of speech, the language, the words that come out from people's mouths. So they understand what's going to happen next, or what they should be doing, or how they should behave, right? Strategic thinking. Think of the old guy, the old man, yeah, in back in season 1, where they have to play tug of war. And Gi-hun, our main character, the only player I can recall the name correctly in English, won. Because of that man, he taught everyone in the group to, the team or group, to like have these sorts of actions to straight away push their backs, their heads backward, lean backwards, and have steps, have different sides alternate between left and right. So even though their team played against the opponent who are all males and who are physically stronger than them, they can still win, which is evidence of strategic thinking being the main skill that helps player win more chance of winning. And then resilience and courage. It's very important to be brave enough to think like, I'm competent enough, I'm skillful enough to be able to pass through each game, and also be resilient in terms of understanding that everything takes time. Everything you must like push yourself forward. You don't what tone in Thai. In English, resilience is like being persistent and being like able to overcome that obstacle no matter what happens, right? So these are the factors that makes people more likely to win in Squid Game. So it's not just about strength, about physical strength. Survival is also about psychology, about understanding human mind and behavior, and knowing ways to think and how to manage their own emotions, that inner thinking and feeling to be able to win. And it's also about money. So let's talk about psychology of money before we move on to anything else. So why would anyone risk their life just for money? There are explanations in psychology. First of all, it's the hedonic treadmill phenomenon that can explain this. So no matter how much we have, think of like financial status, no matter how rich we are, no matter how much money we have, everyone, do you disagree with me? Comment if you do. We always want more. As human beings, it's the fundamental need that helps us be able to survive. Think of Maslow's hierarchy of need. Money is, in fact, the physiological need that allows us to buy, not buy money. Money can't buy money, right? And allows us to buy water, buy food, simply for survival. Okay, so we always want more. Also, it's about dopamine. So we know that dopamine is the neurotransmitter in our brain that makes us feel happy, makes us feel rewarded when we do something we enjoy. Think of Squid Game. Uncertainty makes winning more rewarded. So when it's more difficult to know whether they'll win or not, when something gets challenging and they win, they feel even more rewarded. They feel even more like, I want to move on to the next game. I want to continue and know what it's all about and want even more money. So dopamine is also a pitfall or can be weaknesses for people who are easily persuaded into these sorts of games. But I think in real life, there's no Squid Game. It's going to be against the rules in almost every country on this planet. Also, the third point is about fear of social shame. We always want to look good in front of others. We always want our dignity first. I mean, maybe not in some people, but in most people, in many people, that works that way. It works that way. We want to look good. We want others to respect us. We want people to look upon us and see us as role models, see us as people who like have higher power. Right. So these are the main reasons why we risk our lives for money. I mean, why these players risk their lives for money. For some, money isn't just about survival, it's also about self-worth as well. So this is a quote from me to think about. Some play the game to survive, others play because they have no choice. But in real life, we all have the power to choose who we want to become or who we become. Even in an unfair system, our hearts can still choose kindness every single day. So think of your work, think of your studies, no matter how unfair you're facing an obstacle, a challenge, or some sort of problem, you can still choose kindness. You can still be nice to people every single day. So don't let like any obstacles you're facing let you down. Don't make wrong decisions that risk your life or put your life into like some sort of problem even worse than it is, right? Think positive, be nice, be kind. Good things will happen to you. Okay. And for those who haven't subscribed this channel, subscribe now. And I mean now. Also, this is my Facebook page for those who I mean, I post content in Thai, but you can also like, you can also share my content. You can also read my content translated in English, right? Subscribe, like my Facebook page. Okay, this is pretty much everything I have for today. I'll see you again next video. Bye.